we are sharing Disney's most embarrassing moments. Those awkward, those humiliating, those cringeworthy moments that we all have when vacationing.
Wow, did people send their own cringeworthy moments in?
Well, it's a trend on TikTok, and that's how I got the idea. And I figured, hey, let's share it on the show to make others realize that we're not so different after all.
That must be amazing to watch on TikTok, people's fails. Is it like them tripping over the railroad tracks down Main Street?
That's exactly one of them. Yeah, so we have to list the general moments, and I figured today we'll also talk about our family's specific kind of embarrassing moments to see if maybe they are or they are not humiliating.
Now, you may or may not want to ask your kids what your most embarrassing moments are, because sometimes your kids are just embarrassed by parents in general. Their general being can sometimes just embarrass kids.
What's that age range? I think it's tweens till like late teens, and then they get over it.
I mean, for ours, it was about when they hit 13 till we'll let you know when it's over.
Yeah.
So from 13 on, as long as they're a kid and you're their parent, you somehow embarrass them just by breathing.
Exactly. Well, even the most incredible vacation, especially in a place where it's okay to be a kid again and do things that you might not do in daily life. Of course, there's going to be moments where things go awry.
Now, you can do a lot more embarrassing, quote unquote, things in Disney that you can't do in real life.
Yeah.
Like there's things in Disney that you do that may not be embarrassing.
Right.
Take you out of the Disney equation and put that in the mall. Wow.
Is this episode an introvert's nightmare?
No, I think it may be. You know, us as introverts.
Well, you being the introvert and one other of our... Well, do you think all three of our kids are introverts? I think only maybe one or two specifically.
I think people have a misconception of what introvert is. Introvert doesn't mean you don't like people.
No.
That's just me. Introvert means when you're around people, you need to kind of be alone for a few minutes to kind of refresh and regroup.
Right.
I just don't like to be around people.
So you need an exit strategy.
But yes, when you're the focal point, like when something happens to you that's embarrassing, you immediately become the focal point of anybody who noticed it.
Right.
And that is my nightmare.
Gotcha.
So I really try my hardest to not put myself in those embarrassing situations where people can point and laugh at me.
I think the best strategy really is to laugh at yourself. And in the words of Disney Park blog live host Mark Daniel, our friend, he says, quote, laugh at life.
They're a lot easier to laugh at yourself when you're in Disney, for sure. You know, like if you do, like I said, back to the reference I had earlier about being in the mall, when you do something, it's a lot more embarrassing there. In Disney, everybody kind of laughs and chuckles, and it's a fun place to have that happen.
Agreed.
Real quick, before we get into our most embarrassing moments and we really embarrass ourselves, we do post a lot of embarrassing photos inside of Club UTM.
I think they're funny and fun. I don't know if I would use the word embarrassing or humiliating. I think that they're kind of like, I don't know, funny.
Well, I'll use the words for you. They're embarrassing and humiliating.
Got it.
For me. Because you generally post some photos in there that, listen, they're not bad photos. They're funny.
Yeah.
But they're not photos that you would normally put out to the world that says, hey, look at this photo.
Right.
So if you want to check some of those out and hang out with us inside of Club UTM, you can do that. ClubUTM.co. We do extra podcasts. There's a couple tiers. You get some discounts on T-shirts. I have like this Tonga Toast T-shirt that I'm wearing right here.
Oh, you're wearing the merch.
And I have a new hat. It's a Tonga Toast. My hat's backwards, though, so if you're watching the video, you can't see it.
Bummer.
But it does have a Tonga Toast logo on the front, so if you want to join Team Tonga, you get some discounts on ClubUTM.co.
Some of this stuff, like some of our, I think there's like 3 or 4 shirts specifically that I love wearing to the parks because not only do guests comment, but cast members comment, and it's just so much fun.
You know what? I wore and I don't know why I did this. Last time we went, I wore my heart says Polly, but my wallet says Pop. Very true as of late.
Yeah.
And I wore that to Universal, and people at Universal loved it.
That's right. And we don't really have a lot of Universal merchandise yet. Which
no, we don't.
That's coming soon.
Yeah, we need to get some of that going.
We need to get that going. So
help us out. Here's the question of the show. Email us some ideas for Universal shirts. If you've listened to the podcast, email us some ideas. If we pick one and we create it from your idea, we'll send you a free version of it.
Someone did say, like, don't wear a Disney shirt in Universal, but that was super fun because like you said, the team member there was complimenting a couple times.
I think I got more compliments at Universal for the shirt than I did at Disney for the shirt.
So maybe we need to wear Universal shirts in Disney and in Walt Disney World shirts or in universal.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
listen,
that's a switch up.
if you know the podcast at all, you know I'm a rule breaker.
That's very
Coffee
true.
on the people mover, sneaking snacks into things I'm not supposed to sneak snacks into.
Yeah, well, never gonna be. Yeah. Okay.
Listen, my days of worrying about being invited places are long gone.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Well,
Actually, that could be one embarrassing moment for you when I sneak things on and the cast member kind of looks at me.
it's very much embarrassing, or it's more embarrassing. I didn't write this down on my list, but I will say that I remember the time where I actually asked the cast member, and they were so nice. They're always so nice, but they basically declined.
Wait, what did you ask them?
I asked them if I could bring a drink onto the people mover, and
Rookie
it was
mistake.
like that. And I almost feel like the cast member said that to themselves.
The cast member immediately looked at me, and then looked back at you.
Yeah,
and said, "We know who you are.
Yeah, basically.
Why would you even ask?
Right.
We saw it in his bag.
Yeah.
We know what happens.
So
it's
cringy.
fine. You just can't ask us because we have to say no."
Ugh, rookie mistake. You're right. Well,
very much.
How about we list? There's about 4 or so common embarrassing things I think happen to everybody when visiting Walt Disney World. So
hold on, I got my
or
papers.
Disneyland.
I got my notes here. I wrote down some things.
Okay.
All right.
Well, the first one is the trolley tracks, and we mentioned that in the beginning. Watch out for those. They're embarrassing. They are ankle rollers, basically, and these are the trolley tracks that the Main Street Trolley uses along Main Street, USA. And I'm surprised that they can leave those out there.
I know. You would think that a company like Disney, who's so aware of how things are placed in what potential accidents could happen,
right,
that they would say, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have those tracks right in the middle of Main Street. But maybe that's how they get a good chuckle about, like throughout their day.
It's got to be an inside
They
joke.
probably have a camera somewhere, and
Definitely.
it's a DVD
Mm-hmm.
or a USB drive or a Dropbox file, however long it's been, and they have a whole archive of people just falling.
Yeah. I don't necessarily fall, but it's
Tripping.
It's just something happens. Wobbling. That's the right word. We don't want anybody falling, but wobbling for sure. And that split moment where you feel you fear death is basically what happens.
You fall over and you look around to see if anybody actually noticed you doing that. And of course, there's a lot of people who noticed.
Lots. So that's the first one. The second one is, I think this is a common thing, but getting in and out of any attraction in front of guests or cast members. Specifically speaking, though, the rockets of Space Mountain and/or Astro Orbiter.
We could do a whole show. We should do a top 10 worst attractions to get out of as an adult in Disney. That would be a fun show.
Dumbo the Flying Elephant.
The most embarrassing attractions to try to get out of once you're done at Disney.
So humiliating.
Splash Mountain's not easy to get out of.
Splash Mountain is not easy. You're wet. It's awkward. People are trying to get back into the. Yeah, it's bad.
It is frightening.
What about Big Thunder? Like, I feel the need to get off quick. That's the other thing, is like you feel the need to, the line is always pretty long at most popular attractions. So I don't want to hold up the line, but
you don't want to be the last person to get off.
You don't. And I'm trying to get my stuff. I've got my bag and the little thingy, and it's a lot.
That's a good point.
All right. So we are in agreement.
That is a good one. Yeah, that is a good one.
Next one. I don't know if this is super embarrassing or awkward, but maybe sometimes for me specifically, but here's the most common thing I thought. Getting more excited to see the characters than my own kids.
I'm embarrassed when you do that. I don't know about them, but I get embarrassed for you.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Can you get embarrassed for somebody?
Sure.
I get embarrassed for you quite a bit. I'm sure
true.
you get embarrassed for me quite a bit.
No, as in...
Or embarrassed. You get embarrassed because of me.
Maybe. No, I don't know. I don't know about that. I definitely am more self-aware sometimes when I'm with you, like certain things that I probably want to do that I probably shouldn't, which in fact it's probably for the best, because nobody really wants me to be over the top all the time. I just shared on speaking of our Club UTM, I shared a photo of our daughter at the time. She was really young, 8, maybe 9. I had them always try to write as best as they can in like a little journal book. It wasn't a private book, but it was just to get them to write. And we were cleaning the other day and we saw her old journal from 2011. It was her experience at Disney. And she wrote in there how I would jump on her legs and her feet in the morning of waking up. And that's the energy that I am in Walt Disney World.
Your energy in Walt Disney World is, if you've ever watched the movie Elf, there's a part of the movie Elf where Buddy is in the store and they're having the Santa come out.
Yeah.
Very famous part of the show, or the movie rather, where the Santa Claus comes out and Buddy's there with a bunch of kids. And he's like, "Santa, I know him. That is Constantina when characters come out, especially when we go to any Halloween-themed event or character.
Yeah. Oh, that's tenfold. Oh, man.
You are Buddy the Elf.
All right. Next one, last one that I think is the most common is having to, and they're always so nice about it, though, don't get me wrong, but having to fess up and tell a cast member that you lost something on the ride because you didn't necessarily do what they told you, maybe put your hat away or whatever, and you lost it, and it stinks because you're fessing up to basically not following the rules.
I don't think I've ever lost anything on a ride.
You haven't?
I don't think so.
We've lost quite a bit.
I've lost my sunglasses on the Lazy River in Typhoon Lagoon.
That was easy to do.
But I did get my choice of 400 pairs of sunglasses that they had that everybody else lost, so I could just pick whichever one I wanted.
Well,
so it's almost like I got a new pair of sunglasses.
Hey, you should try that out sometime. Well, all right. Now on to our family-specific, most, I would say, awkward, embarrassing moments when traveling or in Walt Disney World. So I did a little traveling in there, too, because there's a lot. I think I had like 50.
Well, we're pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a lot of embarrassing moments.
And this could be, like I said, either going into the airport, traveling. Doesn't have to be Disney-specific, but I definitely have a few to share.
Hold on. Let me go back to when you lose something on a ride. I don't think that's that embarrassing unless you lost something. You all right over there?
Losing my headphones.
I don't think it's that embarrassing if you lose something on a ride, unless you're doing something that you weren't supposed to be doing.
Well, that's what I mean. So it's like
if you lose your cell phone on Space Mountain, it's probably because you had your cell phone out and you're recording things that you weren't supposed to.
That's what I'm describing.
Yeah.
So it's basically you.
But if you lose your shirt because it was in the bag and it fell out, then that's not really your fault.
No, that's not no at all, not at all. And like I said, the cast members are great about it. They deal with it a lot. I'm sure things happen. I mean, one time I did actually have something in the pocket of Space Mountain and it flew out. I didn't lose it, but it was like in the rocket, which was, I was able to retrieve it right away. But
I mean, one time I lost my hat. I usually put my hat on backwards when I go on that, and then once it gets going, I take it off.
Yeah.
I did lose my hat one time. It flew off. I forget which one we were on, but our kids just happened to be sitting behind us.
So you didn't lose it. It just was temporarily misplaced.
Well, I lost it, and they found it real quick. So it flew off of my head, and then they just happened to have really good reflexes and grasped it right out of the air.
Well, that will lead me to number one blush-making scenario, which was actually shared by one of our Diz kids. She wanted me to say that one of the most embarrassing situations was she was in Disneyland and she was riding Big Thunder Mountain and she was wearing this beautiful scarf like on her head. It was like a headband, and it flung off during the ride. Was it cold? No, it wasn't cold, but it flung off during the ride. Well, what was embarrassing for her was that thankfully it landed on a family member, but it hit one of our other kids in the face and they were able to catch it. So she didn't necessarily lose it, but she was, I guess it was an embarrassing could be moment when the fact that it didn't, if it were to fly onto somebody's face, at least it was part of the family.
Very much so.
She was still embarrassed.
It would be way more embarrassing if it hit a random person.
Exactly.
Although if I'm a random person and somebody's something falls off and hits me in the face, and like especially a scenario like that, I think that would be something I would remember for a long time.
Does your brain comprehend though? Like it's in your face. Like
I don't think a person should be embarrassed for that. If someone's scarf flew off and hit me and they were sitting in front of me, I would laugh.
Exactly.
I would be like, don't worry about it. That was funny. I was just enjoying the ride and all of a sudden the scarf comes flying at me.
This is basically the episode that I want to share today too. It's not necessarily stuff that is, super humiliating. It's like, just laugh at yourself, laugh at the situation. You're in Disney, you're on vacation. What could totally go wrong, wrong and be humiliating. But that was something funny that she wanted me to share. All right, next one. This one's very embarrassing for me. Arriving at our local airport, getting excited. We're on our way to Walt Disney World, heading to our airport, only to discover while waiting for said airplane for us to board or for our airplane to arrive, I realized I left my luggage at home.
Oh, that was very much, I don't know if that was embarrassing or infuriating.
It might
have been infuriating.
I was so worried about helping our kids and just, I don't know, coordinating 5 pieces of luggage. I left one of the 5 at home somehow. I don't know.
You know what? We have a rule in our house.
There's a rule?
There is now, since that incident.
Okay.
Where you're responsible for your own luggage.
Yes.
So when we drive to the airport, depending on how long we're going for and what airline we're taking, you have to put your own luggage in the car. You're responsible from now on for your own luggage. Don't assume anybody else does it for you.
Nope.
Or dad did it.
Nope.
You have to do it. If you didn't put your luggage in the car,
it's on you.
You're wearing that same outfit for a while.
If you're 2 years old, it's just still on you.
Listen, your 2-year-old luggage is pretty small. You can pick that up and put it in the car.
Yes, that's
right.
No
excuses.
No excuses. So that's something that I'll never forget. It was embarrassing at the moment because I definitely kind of made a scene.
By the way, I got home. I went home and got it. Round trip to the airport was probably my fastest time ever.
That's probably one of the only, well, I would say not the only time, but really made me appreciate how.
Thank you. You appreciate me?
Yeah, because we're so opposite. Like, I'm the type of person that we used to argue about this a lot, but
No. Us? Never.
I am the type of person that I'm okay with arriving at the airport an hour before my flight. To me, that's plenty of time. You, on the other hand, it's like 6 hours before. You want to be there.
Well, you're also the type of person that if we have to leave somewhere at 12:30,
yeah,
you get in the car at 12:30 in 16 seconds.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Me and G, we're in the car at 12:20.
Yeah, that's true.
Waiting for you guys.
Yeah, I know.
We're just built different.
We definitely are, but you know,
that's very embarrassing. Well, it's not. It was embarrassing at the time, but it's funny to look back on now.
It's definitely funny now to look back on, and like I said, I now get why you want to leave so early because.
What if something like that happens?
And we didn't have time. Yeah. I guess
if we pulled the Constantina and got there an hour before, you'd be buying a whole new wardrobe down there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, our clothes. Yeah, I don't know. That would be tough to do.
But you know, can I share one?
Go.
And this isn't having to do with this, but so on a recent podcast we did about Guardians of the Galaxy. I called Glenn Close Meryl Streep. It's pretty embarrassing. In my defense,
they look alike.
In my defense, we recently went back, and I was telling Dan the story about we were going with our friend Dan. And I was telling him the story about how I called Glenn Close Meryl Streep, and we were on Guardians of the Galaxy, and I pulled out my phone and I Googled Glenn Close and Meryl Streep. They're the same person.
They literally look so much alike.
Like, they look like they're sisters.
There's a thing, too. That's another trend online where...
Looking like Meryl Streep?
Well, no, but celebrity lookalikes. Like, there's two of everybody in Hollywood, it seems.
Do me a favor.
Okay.
Google, if you're listening to this podcast, press pause and Google Meryl Streep.
Well, I hope they're listening to the podcast.
Okay, you're listening to the podcast.
Okay.
Hit pause.
That's embarrassing.
And Google, they could be watching.
Got it.
Google Glenn Close, Meryl Streep, and tell me they don't look identical.
Yeah.
They could be sisters.
They could be cousins for sure. Sisters.
So that was an
twins.
honest mistake that I made. Looking back on it, I'm pretty embarrassed because I watched all the Guardians movies and the ride, and I still did that.
And I even supported it. I remember.
Oh, you were right on. You were backing me up 100% on that.
I was really excited about her. And
come on, one of us had to be the fact checker. We need a producer. Anybody want to produce the show for us and come and hang out and just fact check us on the fly?
Fact check us on the fly. Help with our audio.
Yeah.
It would really help support the team.
We would hope you like it.
Okay, keep going.
What else? That was it. That was pretty embarrassing. I'm just really embarrassed about that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm so embarrassed about that.
Mainly because, she's
I did go back and delete it out of the episode, so you can't find it.
You that humiliated?
Oh, yeah. I was like, I don't want to be spreading false information. People are going to be thinking Meryl Streep really was in Guardians of the Galaxy. She wasn't.
Yeah.
So I did go back and delete it. So you won't find it, but it did happen.
Got it. All right. Well, you kept your honor.
Thank you.
No one would have ever known if we didn't just reshare it.
Well, people knew because they messaged us.
Right.
That's how I found out.
Got it. Oh, that's humiliating right there.
That is, right?
Okay. My next one is also at the airport. This one is at Orlando International Airport, and it was the time we were soaking in the atmosphere just a little too long while waiting for our flight.
In our defense, the airport in Orlando does I don't know what happens.
Magical.
What do you mean?
It's beautiful. It's like the Golden Girls. Well,
I was going to say, when they announce stuff, I can never understand what they're saying.
Well, there's a lot of people at that airport. We're used to Boston Airport, which is teeny tiny. If you've ever visited Boston, you know what we mean. It's so small. This airport has everything. In their lounge area, there's like tropical just plants all around you. You don't want to leave. And so this particular situation led to a party of 11. We were traveling with 11 people. We almost missed our flight. And what was really embarrassing was that not only did they send someone multiple times, I guess, on the loudspeaker to call our last names, they ended up having to send, because 11 people missing on a flight is a pretty big deal, I guess. And so they sent somebody out to find us, and they found us. And as we were boarding the plane, you could kind of see and feel around you people huffing because they were waiting for us, and we delayed things.
I mean, there was not much better, though, than getting on the plane and then taking right off.
Good point, but I don't suggest it ever again. And in fact, I don't necessarily think the plane was waiting for us. Like, that's not a thing. But I think have you ever boarded a plane where you're early? Like the flight attendants, they're doing their thing, and you never really get that. It's a rare thing, but I think that they were excited that the flight attendants and the crew, they were ready to go, and we were the ones that made them not necessarily early. So that was a big flaw, a big mistake I'll never forget.
In our defense, those chairs that you find and are available at Orlando International Airport in the middle area, they're like gold. So once you find one that fits all of your family, you don't want to get up.
You don't get up.
You don't want to get up unless you are absolutely sure that you are not going back, because there is not a chance that you're going to get that seat again.
The weird thing is that normally we usually, like when we're traveling with the 5 of us, we usually go find our gate to make sure it exists.
Why do we do that?
I don't know.
Why do I do that, by the way?
We always do it.
Okay, D12. Yes, there it is. All right, now we can go do something.
Now we can go back to, we passed like 7 options for food and drink.
I visually saw the gate, and I know it's there. Maybe because you want to make sure that you're in the right area.
Well, which that's has
so that
happened.
way you don't hop on the plane late.
Yeah.
You're not that guy.
You're not that party of 11.
Yeah.
That was awful.
We were that guy times 11.
Yeah. But to your point, once you find a seat there, I don't know. The vibes and I really love, I know they're doing the expansion, which is very high-tech, cutting edge. It's sleek. It's really cool. It reminds me of Tomorrowland in Walt Disney World, the new part of Orlando International Airport. But I like the OG area.
It's got the Golden Girls vibes going on.
It's just got the, flamingos and just that kind of ambiance that I really like. So, I'm not surprised
that was embarrassing.
Okay. Next one.
Speaking of airports, I have another one. I don't know what it is about my stuff, but I always lose something at the airport. I'm like sitting there and I am losing things left and right. And the last time we went, you obviously got to take everything out of your pockets to get through the screening process. And I forgot I dropped my wallet. I put it somewhere and I just dropped it on the ground. And we were at our gate and I was going to reach for my wallet because we were getting coffee or something. And I didn't have my wallet. And this gentleman who worked at the security walked, and our gate was pretty far away.
It was far.
It wasn't like a close gate. Walked all the way to our gate because they found my wallet. And I learned something at the airport that day.
What's that?
They're not allowed to take your wallet with them. So if they find your wallet, they have to bring it back to the security area and leave it there.
Interesting.
And then if they do go find you, the guy had to walk all the way to the gate just to tell me they found my wallet, and I had to walk with him all the way. It was like the longest walk of shame ever. I had to walk all the way back, trying to make small talk with this security guard because I'm an idiot and I lost my wallet.
Because you're also an introvert, and small talk is not your thing.
Oh, that was the longest walk ever.
That's pretty.
And I said, why didn't you just bring the wallet with you? And he said, we're not allowed to take it because if you find your wallet, maybe there was something missing when you lost it and we found it, you're going to assume it was us.
Yeah.
So they don't want to be responsible for anything, so they leave it there, and then you got to go get it. But yeah, that walk of shame was pretty shameful.
That is
Imagine walking, I'm walking next to security in a busy airport, and he's basically leading me back somewhere, and I felt like people were looking at me like I did something wrong.
Yeah, no, they for sure were.
And I was like, I'm innocent. I lost my wallet. We're going back. I had to pass. I'm like, I just lost my wallet. I just lost my wallet. He found my wallet. I've just lost my wallet all the way back to the gate.
You need some kind of screen, with
I'm not doing anything wrong. I just lost my wallet.
So funny. Well, it's funny now.
It is funny now.
That happened to be the day where you were just not on track. I think that was the 3rd or 4th thing that happened to you.
I was all discombobulated.
And I was really worried. I was like, is this bad luck? Should we be going? What's happening here? But it all worked out. It was fine.
Yeah, that was not a good day.
All right, this next one, let's get into some Disney ones, right, specifically. Right. And this one, I think I've shared in the past, but I'll reshare because it was that moment where I was approached by a wonderful cast member who I think was a higher up. It seemed like the uniform was more of a managerial uniform, but I truly thought I was approached by a cast member And I think I was with my sister-in-law too. And we both thought our family just won a major award, or we were being invited to some kind of exclusive event. Like, we've just been discovered. There's 11 of us here. We're probably putting on this awesome ambiance and energy, and Disney wants us to be part of, I don't know, a parade or something. No, it turns out that we misplaced our child, or let me rephrase, our child misplaced us, the parents.
She lost us.
Yes. And they were telling us what a great thing she did. She did the right thing. She approached a cast member and said, hey, I misplaced my parents, or my parents misplaced us, and, help us out, right? She did everything right, but the energy went from so excited to confused, because I really didn't know that
she was missing.
It was literally probably 30 seconds. I mean, it was a very short, it was from one room to the next in Epcot.
So we were in the aquarium room.
Yeah.
After the Nemo attraction.
I can't believe I'm admitting
It's a big area. And there was 11 of us, and we were kind of just like wandering around, right? Like, we're all wandering around, taking in the view, looking at the scenery, looking at the dolphins, and we didn't notice anything.
No, just the dolphins.
Except for that lady coming up to us saying, excuse me, hey, are you Mrs. Irving? Connie's like, yes, I am. Why?
Constantina with a K and Connie with a C.
What, why? And she's like, did you misplace your daughter? And she's like, what? And then, then it's like, okay.
Yeah, that was pretty tough.
But like you said, kids out there, don't panic. Kula did the right thing. She just was like calm, cool, collected.
So calm.
She's like, what do your parents look like? She's like, they're a rowdy group of 11. Well, 10 now because I'm with you.
Yeah, pretty much.
But there's 10 other people out there, and I don't know where they are.
No.
But she did the right thing, and the cast member was very helpful.
Yes.
Comforting to Kula.
Super.
And, I don't ever want to have that happen again.
No, that's definitely not.
Here's the deal, though. Now our kids are old. We try to lose them.
What's that over there?
Like, when your kids hit 19, 20, 21, that's the point when you're like, you know what? Are you Mrs. Irving? No.
Especially when it's like,
are you missing your daughter? No. We're trying to escape from her. What do you mean missing?
Trying to get a coffee for 2, not for 5.
We have dinner reservations, and we only put 2 on the reservation. We need to get rid of these 3.
Gotta drop some weight here.
We can't all afford to go to La Cellier.
No, definitely not. All right. Next one. How about the time we interviewed Disney Imagineer Rolly Crump?
That was great.
That
was on episode number 89, by the way.
89. We had the nerve to ask Rolly Crump to be on our show on episode 89. Wow.
So we were doing some research on a podcast episode that we're going to be doing in the future about windows on Main Street.
Yeah.
And as I'm doing the research, I was looking back on the episodes that we did, and we interviewed Marty Sklar in episode 81.
Wow.
That was stressful because he was the
Rolly
voice
Crump.
of Walt Disney. He was the written word voice of Walt Disney.
Marty Sklar.
Marty Sklar.
Yeah.
We interviewed him on 81, and then we interviewed Rolly Crump on 89. So within the span of 9 episodes, we interviewed 2 Disney Imagineering legends.
Yeah.
That worked with Walt Disney.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Now.
We still don't know.
I'm on episode 400. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
I don't know.
It was episode 89.
I remember literally shaking.
We had some guts.
No, I don't know.
To email them and
You
say,
did.
hey, come on
Not
our
me.
podcast.
I was very, very nervous. And the reason why that was so embarrassing for me at the time was I was so nervous. And it's because I care so much. This is an incredible Imagineer, Disney legend that has done so much, and he's so talented. He didn't make me nervous. Like, he was amazing, but I was just wanted to do such a good, I wanted to do a good job. But my word retrieval and grammar, which is tough for me in general, but it was so terrible that day because I was nervous. So adding to that, his wife had to reword every single question. And she was lovely, but she had to reword every question I was asking him or was trying to ask him. And I remember she was doing it. I was like, oh, yeah, well, that makes sense when you ask it that way.
I should have said it that way.
Yeah. Same thing happened to me a couple of times when we've done interviews. That's mainly why I don't love interviews, because I just get so nervous and just grammar goes out the window.
Team talks turns into team not so talks.
That's why I repeat. There's a common kind of joke in past episodes where I have done, a word of the show.
Yeah.
And it's basically because I get asphyxiated on one word and I just end up repeating it and repeating it.
Listen, yeah, but you know what the cool part is?
What's that?
You did it.
No, I know.
That's a good lesson out there for the kids. You know
That's
what?
true.
Regardless of what happens, you get better at things as you go.
No, that's a fact. Yeah.
Keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward. Laugh
like
at
Walt
life.
Disney did or didn't say.
Very good point, right?
It's a good saying. Whoever said it and came up with it, It's a good saying.
Good saying. Yeah, for sure. And I'm just so grateful we had the opportunity. I'm still holding hope that we'll get to meet him in person. I think I do a little bit better in person than I do with, on a phone call.
Why?
I
Because
think
I'm much better on the phone.
I think on the phone, I think it's too in real time, whereas in person, I think I can have a moment to breathe and to collect my thoughts. Whereas on the phone, I'm thinking, okay, this person doesn't have that much time to give me, so I'm trying to rush it, and then that's really when things go wrong in my brain. So it's tough, but
So I'm the total opposite.
totally
In person, I'm thinking about how do I get out of this situation.
and then you get nervous.
On the phone, I can just click a button, and I'm out of the situation. So I don't worry about that.
Okay. Did you invent Go Away Green, the color?
What's that?
It's the Go Away. We talk about it many times. That Disney Go Away Green color.
Oh, no, but I wish I did.
That's a smart color. I gotta dress you in that top to bottom.
Yeah. I have another embarrassing moment that has to do with security.
Security.
Yeah.
At airports?
Everywhere.
Go for it.
Losing my belt.
You're losing a lot of things.
I didn't lose my belt. Well, I lost the button that goes to my pants, and my belt was assisting in that
situation.
holding it up.
Yeah. By the way, a sew kit needs to be part of your packing list. I got to update that.
And you, for Christmas this year, bought me a belt that is, well, we'll test it out in a couple weeks.
TSA friendly.
That you don't have to take off. So you can go through the security check. You don't have to take off your belt. Because if you have a metal belt, they make you take it off. And if your button broke, that's embarrassing.
Fingers crossed that it works.
I said, excuse me, sir, my button's broken. And if you really want me to take my belt off, it's not going to be pretty. And he's like, I'm sorry, but you got to take your belt off. And I'm like, well, I warned you.
It's a metal that was going off.
And it was not a fun experience.
No,
so
okay.
Thank you for the Christmas gift of the TSA approved belt.
We'll see. We'll put that item to the test. I'm really hopeful.
In a couple weeks, we're going to be going through the airport. We'll report back and let you know if it works. We'll link up where to get it on the podcast website, unlockingthemagic.com. So that way you don't have embarrassing moments of eating too much food, your button breaks, your belt's there to support that, and then they make you take it off everywhere you go. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time you go somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is good because I like security.
Yeah, no, I for sure understand where they're coming from. Again,
I feel bad for the security guards.
No, I felt bad for them. In fact, I felt
extra bad.
Yeah. Sew kit in your packing list, or hopefully this new belt works.
Or why do they make men's pants? And I say men because we're rough.
Yeah.
With buttons that have to be sewn on.
Only you can tell me
They should
that.
weld those things on.
I think it's a Bruce
They should
thing.
be like, these are man's pants. Men are not gentle.
Maybe not. All right.
So
Well,
that was pretty embarrassing.
that's
I think that was the most embarrassing thing ever.
I actually don't believe you shared that on the show. Are we keeping that, or are we editing it out?
No. I'm keeping it in there.
All right. We got to listen. This is all for good fun, and it's just to show everybody that, hey, we're all in this together.
Listen.
That's all right.
We're dorks too.
That's all right. Okay. How about the time? Oh, this is so embarrassing. I became a little too immersed in all things Disney, all the accents in Disney. And I happened to be in Animal Kingdom, and we were sitting, I think you and a couple of the kids were on Everest, and me and our oldest was just sitting in the area where you can overlook the lagoon, the lake, and we're just taking a time out, just kind of chillaxing. And I happened to be walking around. I'm like, oh, what's this? Of course, it's Disney. They want you to touch everything and try to, they encourage you, right, to do things.
Yeah, where are you going with this one? I don't know what you're talking about.
I rang the emergency bell.
What emergency bell?
There's the little ring bell if there's a problem. Thankfully, there was a cast member right there at the time. Thankfully. So it could have escalated really bad. It could have been mortifying, and of course I wouldn't want anybody to come to our attention if there was no emergency. And I think that was really what I felt, pretty.
You pulled the fire alarm.
Pretty humiliating. Yeah, in a way. Yeah, it was.
You were that kid.
I don't know how that happened.
That's so you ever been to somewhere? So at the gym, right? I'll have my phone in my pocket, and sometimes I'll try to hit the button to lower the volume or raise the volume without having to take the phone out.
Yeah.
And if you hit the button, the power button, 3 times on your phone,
what happens?
It sends an emergency signal.
Oh, yeah?
You've never done that?
No, I don't think so.
I've done that at least a dozen times.
Oh, well, that's great.
So it kind of reminds me of that.
Oh, all right.
It's not an emergency. I'm just not paying attention.
Yeah. Whoops. Sorry. Oh, okay.
That's great. Well, I'm out of embarrassing moments that I want to share.
Okay. I like that.
I'm
Okay.
not out of embarrassing moments, but I'm done with ones that I want to share.
I've had a trolley track mishap, to share that right here. It didn't fall, but you did the whole rolling kind of thing, and it's a little awkward, but hey, everyone does it. If you sit around Main Street long enough, you'll see plenty of people doing it, whatever. This time, next was at Hollywood Studios, where I saw the Green Army Men from the movie Toy Story marching along. And I was so excited because Green Army Men, of course, right? These are Andy's miniature plastic toys from the movie, right? And I got extra excited because not only was it the Green Army Men and they were marching, I was so happy to see, but I was also really excited because I had read somewhere prior to our trip, this was years ago, that if you shouted, quote, "Andy's coming," to the Green Army Men, that the soldiers would freeze and or drop. So like they would know Andy's coming.
Is that a thing?
It was a thing, I guess. Or wait, let me rephrase it. It's something I had read that was a thing.
What website?
I don't know. It was a long time ago, but I was so excited to test that theory. And I thought, how cool. Oh my gosh, I'm the only one here in Hollywood Studios that knows the secret. And I was so excited. And I was shouting this phrase, "Andy's coming." And as I'm shouting, I'm getting louder and louder because they're not hearing what I have to say. And at the same time, I'm embarrassing not only myself, but our teenage nieces that happened to be with us at the time. I think they were 16. Like, oh gosh, what's Auntie Connie doing, right? Finally, the sergeant replied with, "Andy's in college." And I go, oh, it's not a thing. That wah, wah.
You got old information.
Yeah, it was pretty humiliating, but it was all in good fun. Again, everybody's around you laughing and it's fun, but I would have been happy to go without that moment.
I wish they had. What do they do then? Do they do anything?
I don't know. Because Andy did go away to college.
True.
So that was, and
So
I can see.
maybe they were messing with you.
Well, I can see how they don't fall to the ground. That would be an issue. And then maybe freeze, but I could see how if they're out there to march to get to the next destination, they can't necessarily stop all the time. So I don't know if it was necessarily old information, but if any of you have ever tried it in the past, don't try it now, 2020.
Well, maybe try it now and see what happens.
No, don't try it now.
Try it now. Let's do it. Send us some video.
Andy went away to college. He is not.
Well, he's out of college now, I think.
Where is he?
He's probably in a job.
Back at home.
He's doing a job he doesn't like. He
Oh,
graduated, and now he's miserable behind the desk.
Oh, good. Okay.
Like the rest of us.
Next one.
Next one.
Disneyland and the Matterhorn bobsled. So
Wait a second. So this says Disneyland and the Matterhorn bobsled's wardrobe malfunction.
Ugh.
What happened there? I don't
So,
recall this incident.
It was a small minor incident, but it was back to that whole thing where getting in and out of an attraction in front of people is just super humiliating.
The Matterhorn bobsleds, by the way, up there with really bad attractions to get out of because everybody's looking at you.
Well, I thought, okay, it's Disneyland. There's something about Disneyland. Maybe it's because it's smaller. It's a smaller park, and you're in California. I think I had the need to dress up a certain way, and I was wearing a skirt and like this weird shirt. I don't know. It was just like an uncomfortable outfit now that I go back thinking about it, getting in and out of rides, but specifically the Matterhorn bobsled because you're loading into your bobsled in front of everybody, and it's a very vintage ride. So back then I don't know how they got into these things appropriately, but it was just my shirt got stuck. I was trying to get in, and then I was trying to get out, and yeah, that was a problem.
It's funny, too, because you think of Disneyland when it first opened. You watch videos, and people are wearing suits and dresses and high heels. What are they doing?
I don't know how. I don't know.
Very much different
Not
a wardrobe that people wear to Disney today.
I'm very mindful of other people's time whenever I'm loading or unloading.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that leads to doing silly things.
Yeah, but sometimes when you're too mindful, you get too focused on it, and it actually ends up backfiring.
No, 100% is what
Because that's
I'm
when
saying.
you bobble something, or you forget something, or you got to just relax.
You get stuck in
Take
the
your
bobsled.
time. Yeah. Take your time, and you'll get out of that eventually.
Oh, gosh, that was a moment. Yeah, I try to forget that. So you probably didn't notice because I was trying not to create more of a scene than...
I didn't notice, by the way. That's why I was saying, what the heck happened there?
All right, how about these two next ones? These are my two last ones. How about this? All right.
Fantastic.
Devouring Mickey beignets at Disneyland. So,
Why is that embarrassing?
okay.
I do that quite a bit.
So I do too, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we happen to be eating beignets, got to the last two, and somehow everybody was too full. Like nobody wanted the last two beignets. And I looked at the bag and I go, well, I can't carry these around all day. The powdered sugar is going to melt. And I also refuse to toss them because, hello, Mickey beignets, you don't throw those away in the trash. So instead, I decided to just shove the last two. Again, mindful of time, got to go. I shoved the last two in my mouth. And at that exact moment, I got, hey, are you Connie? And I got so excited and like.
That was me.
Well, I didn't know my surroundings yes, I spoke immediately and powdered sugar just like flew out of my mouth. And it was just.
I was embarrassed about that time.
That was just a blush-making scenario for myself.
So people shouldn't come up to you and say, hey, are you Connie when you're eating beignets?
Probably not, although it's funny now, but it's like I felt bad for them because I was like.
We need to put an outfit on, like you need to hide and eat your beignets around the corner, ducking around the corner so no one sees you.
I just felt bad for them. Like, oh, did I get powder on them? I
Probably.
don't know. I probably did.
They got a free beignet flavor without having to pay for the beignets.
I did not. They
had beignets for days all over their outfit.
This was a long time ago, and I still think about it every once in a while. All right, last one is that time. That time we thought we booked a 3-day cruise, but it was actually I don't know how this happened to us.
I don't either. I think we knew what we booked.
Wait,
we forgot.
So, it was a 5.
You go.
I didn't finish the sentence, so no one really knows what I'm talking about yet. So it was a 3-day cruise, but it was actually 5 days at sea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We got an extra cruise day. We got a bonus day.
Didn't have quite enough wardrobe and clothes to go around, so there was some laundry issues that had to be held, done on the cruise, which is not cheap, by the way. Yeah, that was humiliating, exciting too, because
what's better than thinking you're going on a 3-day cruise and you get an extra day out of it?
I mean, yeah, but I
just need a bathing suit. Just put your bathing suit on. Wear that the whole time.
This was pre-unlocking the magic travel, so we didn't necessarily have help that we thought was great to help us. I don't know.
We didn't know what a cruise was. We've never been on a cruise before. It was our first cruise. It was our first Disney cruise.
We didn't know what we were doing.
We did a lot wrong.
Yeah, so.
That was a whole embarrassing scenario in and of itself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was.
Plug for Unlocking the Magic Travel, by the way, which is why you need a travel professional to help you
100%
not be embarrassed. There's nothing worse than booking your own trip and then going on that trip and then embarrassing and having nobody to blame but yourself.
Yeah, I guess that's 100% true. So if there's mistakes happen, you might as well have it.
You might as well have a support team with you to say, hey, you know what? How do I not embarrass myself? And we say, you know what? This is what you do.
It costs you nothing. Yeah. So it's just an easy way out for yourself. Do it.
Right. So contact Unlocking the Magic Travel. Go to unlockingthemagictravel.com and we'll help you.
I was trying to.
Not us, but somebody will help you.
I was trying to Google and look at Disney Channel stars to see if there was anything there that was cringeworthy for them.
Oh, I've seen a few shows that they should be embarrassed of.
Not that.
Oh.
But I saw one where Sophia Carson from Descendants 2, which is a huge popular movie or show.
Hold on. I don't even know what Descendants 1 is.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. What is it?
It's that movie with the kids of the villains. So they made a whole movie about it.
They did?
They made 3.
They made 3 movies about it?
You know who it is. Anyways, Sophia Carson said that her character was supposed to sew during one of the scenes, but during filming, she broke the sewing machine that caused all these kinds of issues for the scene itself. If you know anything about movie filming, time is money, so they had to go find or fix the sewing machine, which caused a big problem during production.
Why don't they just cut the scene?
I think it was a pivotal moment in the scene where they're showing her
sewing.
Sewing, yeah.
Her sewing something is a pivotal scene. That's why I didn't see that movie.
That's true.
If that's a pivotal scene, I'm out.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it. Let's end it there.
All right.
I'll try to do some more digging of embarrassing moments while filming. I think there's a bunch.
We should do like a listener embarrassing moment show. Like send in your most embarrassing moments and we'll talk about them on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll talk about your embarrassing moments.
We'll call you out on the podcast and share your most embarrassing story so we can all chuckle.
Beautiful. I love that. We're all relatable at the end of the day. And what's most important is you laugh at yourself, laugh at life, for sure.
Exactly. Like, listen, if we can't have fun with what we do, whether it's an embarrassing moment or not, like if you can chuckle about it later, that's the memories that you're making with your family.
For sure.
Which is the most important part. Thank you to Club UTM.
Yes, thank
Co.
you.
Thank you to Unlocking the Magic Travel. Thank you to you for listening to the podcast. We very much appreciate you hanging out with us here every single week. Hopefully you have, if you're listening to this when it comes out, have a happy new year. We look forward to 2023. We have a lot of great podcast episodes that we have scheduled for 2023. Probably not a lot of interviews though.
I'll try to get better at it. There's one person in particular that I've been trying to get on the show. Well, her schedule and ours hasn't kind of come together yet, but I don't know. You might have to take the reins on that if we do get her on.
I'm okay with interviewing people.
You are. That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to have very short bullet points, very direct questions. Let me just please say that every guest we've had has been wonderful, and they've all made me feel comfortable. I just get really nervous.
Oh, this is your own thing.
Definitely.
Because we've had we've done some interviews. We haven't done any lately, but we did a lot.
Yeah.
And the guests that we've had on have been amazing.
Yeah.
And fun to talk to. And I actually do like doing interviews, but I know you are uncomfortable, so maybe we can kind of work on that.
Definitely.
And they're not live, which is good. Like, you always cut it out. You know, if something happens, something happens.
Maybe that could be my resolution is like get better, get more comfortable interviewing others.
Because there is a lot of people who have emailed us and said, hey, you should talk to this person.
Yeah.
Or you should get this person on the podcast. And it's just not something that we've done.
Definitely.
So 2023 is coming. It's going to be the year of focus, I called it.
The year of focus. I'm doing a whole unbucket list. I'm changing things up.
Oh.
So for 2023.
What is that? Like, is a hole in your bucket?
Yeah. I think in the past we've done things we're looking forward to and all that. And it's been great, but I think that has been a little unlucky in some ways. So I'm trying to do like more. All right. First of all, gratitude. So I want to do a whole thing about how you could be grateful about whatever you could pick out of 2022, even if it was a bad year for you. There's got to be a moment there at some time where you could be grateful for something. And that's really important to me. And then the unbucket list and non-bucket list where things I never want to do again.
Oh, there's plenty. Yeah. I mean, listen, every year you could do that.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's try it out.
We did it. Happens. We're never doing that again.
Yeah.
That could be a whole podcast episode.
Right. So there you go. All right.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the podcast. We hope you like it, and we'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye, everybody.